Dakar is back underway after the rest day. We're back into the desert, passing the hand of the desert. Cyril Dupre may well have more than an hour's lead, but he was running into problems. Anything can still go wrong. Stefan Perhansel lost time earlier in the rally, but he is still flat out. The last 48 hours has been, well, quite simply hell for many people. Through the Fesh, this guy says the shortest way is not always the fastest way. And when we say Fesh, we mean dust that's just ground down to a substance like talcum powder. Tim Coronel was out there as well.
My car's upstairs. What? Stuck. I put it in reverse, but it jumped out, so I have to wait for the service truck.
Tim Coronel stuck in there with his new McRae buggy, just the two-wheel drive, going to be struggling. Bikers, of course, they were out there. Stage 7 was a biggie. It was the biggest of the whole rally, and the rally organisers gave everybody actually 36 hours to try and complete the stage. Now here is Christian Rubinetti and Kent Walter. They crashed on the second stage, making a complete mess of their car. The rear suspension was hanging off, the steering was all awry, but they still were giving up their own time to try and get other people out of the Fesh. Look how deep it was. Sunset over the longest stage was to be a nightmare. There were still 32 cars out there in the stage at midnight. But late yesterday, the Toyota of Rubinetti and Walter got in with just 1 more minute to go. He says, we're here just in time and we're going to continue. 2 days of rally and we're in by 1 single minute. There were emotional scenes down there. Can you imagine what it felt like? Tim Coronel, he also got back, and just to make sure that that everybody wasn't dusty enough, he made sure that they were by the time he finished celebrating with Chris Lades. Yannick Guillaumache, he also returned very late yesterday afternoon. This is in the rest day. He says if you go on the Dakar thinking that you won't have any problems, then you are just dreaming. You are wrong. It will never happen like that. And this is what happened to him. He's held together the entire front of the motorcycle with a bit of Heath Robinson Tom trickery, really, and the whole roadbook and everything was attached by that little electrical attachment. That little metal bracket was what was holding on the whole of the front of the bike. David Castor coming over and really marvelling at his ingenuity. He says that is a true African fix. Stage 8, Antofagasta to Copiapo, a short road section of 96 kilometres, and then it's the 4th longest stage of the entire rally at 472 kilometres, coming back to Copiapo, where we were a couple of days ago. It's a biggie, and it's still difficult. There's a long way still to go. $151 bikes left Buenos Aires, and 96 took the start this morning for this stage 8. Very cool and cold conditions after the 96 kilometre road section that took everybody down from the rest day at Antofagasta towards the start line for this stage. You can't believe it, the heat of the desert, and here we are, and people are literally hugging the silencers and getting what little coffee they can to try and keep warm before a final good luck and goodwill kiss before they were on their way. The Chilean fans really embracing this rally. The 7 stages, their side of the Andes, well, pretty well mobbed. And great to see Mark Coma taking the start today after the doubts that he was, well, maybe not going to continue for the second half of the rally after his 6-hour penalty that was dished out after an illegal wheel change on stage 7. Cyril Dupre took the start though, as the overall leader of this Dakar rally. He comes into the second half of the 14 stage events with a precious lead of just over 1 hour. The first half of the 472 kilometre stage was very difficult, not so much sinuous, but a real wheel breaker, and you don't want to fall off because those rocks are sharp and they're angular and you can get caught out. Of the 3 riders in there, Stefan Svitko, he was 10th today. A good run from the Eastern European, from a start number of 128 when he left Buenos Aires, the start of the rally. The landscape famous not only for these Dakar guys, but famous for the fact that James Bond was filmed around here, the Quantum of Solace film, not far away with its filming activities. So Cyril Dupre didn't have time to think about James Bond or any of his girlfriends. He just had to keep concentrated. But big problems for Dupre, because by the time he got to the refueling there was a bit of a panic on, and for Dupre, thank goodness, it was a neutralized refueling section. The front wheel destroyed, and as others looked on, there was no way that front wheel was going to last another 2/3 of the stage. But for Dupre, his teammate Ruben Ferrier gave up his front wheel and mended the Frenchman's chances. The rear wheel was as such, but remember there's no air in these rear tyres. The rear is kept up with the mousse, the foam insert, for want of a better expression, and Dupre was then on his way. Dupre continues to lead overall by 1 hour and 20 minutes. Alain Duclos, 6th on the stage today, and he remains 5th in the overall standings. Hilder Rodriguez, though, has been the big loser of the day. He's dropped 2 places in the overall standings. From 2nd overnight, he's now 4th. Only 5 minutes behind that 2nd place. It's very close for 2nd, 3rd and 4th position after today's stage, returning to Copiapo. Przgonski, the Polish rider, 11th overall, 8th on the stage today, proving that he's turned the wick up a little. He needs just 11 minutes more to try and clinch 10th position. Olivier Pan on the Yamaha 450, another big winner today. You can actually see the pace of Olivier. He's up 3 places. He goes now into 8th position overall. What a stunning run that he has had through the Atacama Desert, the driest place on earth. Temperatures soaring once more into the mid-40s. Very difficult indeed. David Frétigné on the number 12 Yamaha 450, cool as ever, giving a little wave to our camera. Frétigné remains 6th in the overall standings, 2 hours and 2 minutes back of Cyril Dupre. Were it not for those problems that befell him in the middle of the first week, David Frétigné could be leading this rally. Another big winner though on today's stage, Palando Zulavalseta. From nowhere in the first few days of the rally, he actually led today's stage early on, and he is now up into 2nd position in the overall standings for Team Scandinavia. What a superb run by the Viking. Mark Comer, he was so close to being victorious on today's stage, probably still quite angry after that 6-hour penalty has dropped Comer down to 24th position in the overall standings. He's got too much to do, but an illegal wheel change halfway through stage 7, a wheel being given to him by somebody not involved in the rally, meant he got that 6-hour penalty. The victor today though, the 2nd victory for Francisco Lopez here in Chile, his homeland. Victorious on the stage by just 42 seconds ahead of Mark Comer, the Aprilia V-Twin 450 asserting its authority. Lopez also goes up 1 position in the overall standings. He's now 3rd, getting a taste of that champagne by the time he returns to Buenos Aires. Marcus Patronelli, finished 56 seconds ahead of his brother Alejandro on today's crash through the dust. Marcus continues to lead overall by 2 hours and 23 minutes. It's a brotherly 1 and 2 for Argentina with the quads. Francisco Lopez, victorious once more on his Aprilia, just ahead of Coma. Olival Seta, Frecinier and Dupre. Dupre was lucky today. He continues to lead by 1 hour and 20 minutes, but now it's Olival Seta who's second from Lopez Rodriguez, who's dropped to Clo fifth.